Hello and welcome, I'm Krista from K Music and Design, and welcome to the first ever virtual art class. In this 10 class, we will be focusing on drawing techniques and enhancing our drawing ability. So let's get started by seeing what we will need for the next 10 classes. You will need your very own set of graphite pencils. In this set specifically, there is an 8B all the way to a 2H, and it also sneaks in a little F there. And this is a great brand. I would suggest it, not a sponsor, no sponsors in this video. And with graphite pencils, we will also need a sharpener to keep those graphite pencils going. We will need 3 different erasers. I am using a school eraser, a basic eraser, nice white eraser. A gum eraser, this one is well used, but you are more than welcome to get a nice fresh one. You see that up there? And a kneaded eraser. Artist Loft is a great place to go. I know it's in Michael's, and again, not a sponsor, but great product. And these ones, this kneaded eraser is sticky and it comes in a plastic covering. So I would suggest once you take it out of the covering, either to carefully take it out and keep the covering and wrap it back in, or place it in a bag or a container. Eventually that kneaded eraser is going to look like this. And it's very sticky. You can see it sticking together. Pulling it apart. And this one is quite dark and dirty from all of the graphite that was used. Stretching it out, we'll spread out that graphite and find that nice light gray eraser to use again. In this video, we'll be needing some scissors and some tape, Scotch tape, nothing too fancy, and we are going to be using some sharp objects, so make sure you are super careful and that a parent, a guardian, or an adult is there to help you out with safety measures. For this video's activity, this is optional, a sandpaper with grit 100 or less. If you would like to grab yourself some sandpaper to help out with today's activity, but it is not needed. Scissors will do just as well. We will also be needing a ruler. It can have all of the numbers on it, or it can be a straight edge. The main thing we're looking for is a straight edge. Because art does not have to be perfect, it has to be creative and your own expression. In future videos, we'll be needing an assortment of crayons, and this one is the 24 pack. We can use more if you want. Just make sure that you have an assortment of the rainbow, and if you want to have some more assortment, different shades of each color of the rainbow. That would mean you get dark pink, light pink, light pink, darker pink, to a purple. And like all those purples and to blue shades. The same idea with pencil crayons. It's colored pencil crayons. These ones are quite old. I used in elementary school, so you can use any of the pencil crayons out there as long as they are assorted in color and shade, ranging from the rainbow. And I keep mine in this pencil case. You're more than welcome to get your own pencil case to keep all of your supplies, or a baggie works just as fine. And last but not least, the most important of our tools is a sketch pad and paper. This one here specifically is an 8.5 by 12 inch. And you're more than welcome to use just a regular piece of paper or a notebook, anything that you have or are able to purchase. I would suggest getting a specific sketchbook, or sketchbook specifically. Let's get started on testing out our graphite pencils. I'm going to be fancy and use a ruler just to have everything all nice, neat, and organized. You're more than welcome to create circles, have different spaces sectioned out, triangles if you want, stars, anything you would like. And make sure that there's enough room for each little spot to have a label so that we can keep track of what each of our little creations means. I'm going to be creating about 10 to 15 squares and boxes around my paper and using the ruler. You are more than welcome to follow along or go at your own pace. Skip ahead to the video when you are skip ahead in the video when you are doing is finding a few. I'm doing is mapping out my sections. So here, I don't want my sections or my squares, rectangles to go into my coils, so it's a little bit tricky to draw around. I'm going to be creating about 2 by 2 boxes, and I'm going to have some rectangles on the edge. And here we go. First line up with a 1/2 inch space between my boxes. And 1, 2. Nothing has to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. There is such thing as trying our best and learning. Here's my 1/2 inch there. And 1/2 inch there. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Starting with 2 inches, 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to connect my lines. And eventually, whoops, what happened there? Oh, see, I made a mistake. It's got me a little bit confused. There we go. There's a space to write in our labels so that we know what is inside of each of our boxes. Or if you're drawing circles, triangles, a little squiggly wiggly. And going up here, doing the exact same thing. I'm going to give a little bit of space on the edge here. 2 inches, 2 inches, 1/2, 2 inches, 1/2, 2 inches, 1/2, 2 inches. And that's about 1/2. Go all the way down to the bottom here. And leaving the exact same amount of space I left up there. 2 inches. Go back and that 2 inches, 1/2, 2 inches, 1/2. Whoop. 2 inches, 1/2, 2 inches, 1/2. That might be 1 inch. That's 1.5 inches. Cool. Let's try out 2 inches. Not that one. I could use an eraser. Approximately there, and let's connect those dots to create some lines. I could go straight to this line, or I'm going to keep going all the way off the edge of the page. Oh, what happened here? There's 2 inches, because that one's not. And then I guess this one. Yeah. Stuff happens. The main thing is that we have little sections and spots to label. There we go. That line's not exactly super lined up, but that is okay. And I'm using a HB2 pencil. A lot of school pencils and pencils that we write with are HBs, HB2 and H2. So let's learn about what that H, that B, and that 2 means. With a nice 8, the B means black. The higher the number, the 8 is the darkest black pencil that I have. And the lower the number goes, let's say a 3B, the lighter the black is. Or more into the gray section. Let's take a look at our HB, or the highest number of B that you have, and applying the same amount of pressure, pushing the same amount down. All the way across. I kept my lines quite close together. They can be apart like this. Trying our best to use the same amount of pressure, and if you'd like to try right on top, a straight down pencil compared to a laying down pencil, which covers more surface area. You can definitely take a look at that and check out the differences. So what we're going to do is label this one here as an 8B. And I'm labeling mine with the HB2, which you can label yours with an 8B, 7B, 6B, whatever you would like. You are the creative artist on your sketch pad. Moving down to a 7B, keeping that same amount of pressure that I was using on the 8B, and trying my best to keep the same angle of the pencil, so this one's laying down a little bit, keeping that nice spread. And we can have like white lines, we can have our pencils markings nice and close together. So I'm going to, you know what, just for fun, let's do some ups and downs for all of them. See that difference. 7B. I'm going to go on with all of my pencils. You're more than welcome to pause the video, take your time, test out all of your pencils first, all of your graphite pencils, and then come back to the video, skip ahead to where I'm testing out the erasers in this bottom corner side over here. But let's carry on to a 6B. Keeping that same amount of pressure and trying my best to keep the same angle. And I'm going to leave some space to show an up and down angle. And I went outside of the box. Who cares? We're testing things out. 6B, moving on to my 5B. At an angle, same pressure. See if we notice if the blackness is getting lighter. It's turning from more of a black to more of a gray. Does it feel soft to push down? Does it feel hard to scribble around? Here's what it looks like up and down. Here's our 5B. Continuing on to the 4B. Trying my best to keep the same pressure. 4B, graphite pencil. And already, do we notice, is it thicker, lighter, darker? Where does that blending change into? Let's continue on to a 3B. And here's the lightest of the black. A nice gray tone. See if you can feel the difference between each pencil. How does it feel when it's pushed down? Does it feel like it's easier to push it down? Harder? Ooh, let's label that one. That would be and an inch. Finer tip, a lighter black. Whoops, this is an HB. There we go. Now we are getting into the H's. Whoops. The H's. Here is the hardness level. So this is our softest hard. And our HB, this one here, is right in the middle. Our lightest black and our softest hard. And the higher the H gets it with its number, the harder the graphite pencil will be. And if you have higher H's than me, I have the highest is a 2. See if you notice a difference between the shades of gray come in there. I'll label this one before I forget. My highest H and H2. See how it feels to write with. Usually the harder the pencil is, the more finer details you can get, and the softer the pencil is, the thicker it's going to be, and the more shading you can do, or background shading, as well with pencil crayons and crayons when we get there. There we go, I've tested out all of my graphite pencils. If you have more, please pause the video and check out your extended graphite pencils, your higher numbers, lower numbers if you have them. If you have a 2B, that would be cool to check out. Now that you've tested out all of your graphite pencils, see if there's a difference between that 8B going all the way to your highest H, or your highest B all the way to your highest H. For me, I see that my highest B is thick and dark, and it gets lighter and thinner as I go. Now let's switch over to testing out our erasers. I'm going to label all of my boxes first and then test them out. I need 3 boxes for 3 erasers, and also a dark box and a light box, a teeny tiny little light box at the bottom there. And so let's label these ones. This is going to be an 8B. And this one's going to be a 3B. 8B, 3B, and I have one more eraser to test out. 8B, 3B. For this exercise, I'm going to see if I can press as hard as I can to get as much graphite onto this page as possible. Careful that the wooden part stays away from the page, or it could do some scratches, which isn't a big deal. And the same amount of pressure onto the next 2 as I used for my 8B. I want pretty much to copy this onto here, copy this onto here. There we go. I'm going to put my 8B down for a moment, and pick up my 3B and do exactly the same thing. Push nice and hard to get it nice and dark and as much graphite as I can onto the page. And then I'm going to copy. And your lines can go any direction. Mine prefer to go from the top left to the bottom right because I am left-handed. That's just my comfort zone. You may be going the other way, up and down, left, right, making some scribble circles, anything you would like. Be creative as you can for testing out all of your graphite pencils and erasers. So let's check out the white eraser first. And if you need to erase a little bit, if you don't have a quite new one, erase, get that graphite off, and then come back and find a white edge. Test it out. This is what the white eraser did to my 3B pencil. It took off most of the graphite. There's still a little bit, but not too much. I'm going to do the same thing, try to get a white spot, a clean spot on my eraser, and try it again with the 8B, or the highest B that you're trying it out. Took off most of the dark sections of the black graphite. I did leave quite a bit of graphite on and smudged a little bit on the edge there, which is going to be a cool effect in future lessons. Let's check out our gum eraser. Again, finding a light spot or the original color as best as you can. This one is well used, nice and dark, so if you need to erase in a blank spot, to get that black off, you can. Oops, I'm coloring with my nail polish. I'm going to start with the lighter color. It's going to be taking off less graphite than the darker color, so it'll be less to get dirty. Less dirty. So this one took off a little bit less than the white eraser, but still took off quite a bit and did end up smudging a little bit too. So let's find the clear part of the eraser, the gum eraser. This eraser pretty much just smudged it. Did take off a little bit of graphite. Compared to this one, it is a lot lighter and a lot has been removed. But let's check out our kneaded eraser for the last eraser we're going to be needing in this class. Knead it a little bit, just like dough. We need to move it around, get it activated and ready to erase. It's super sticky. Make sure you do have a case or something to put it in that it will not stick to for next time. And I'm looking for the grayest space I can find, or the lightest gray space. This one has been used quite a bit, so it's quite dark. Okay, a little bit of the original one there. And let's test it out. We're gonna put a little bit of a point on there so I have a little bit more control. How quick it picks up on the graphite. Black it gets. And I was going with the pencil lines. I'm going to try and go without or in a different direction against the pencil lines. And I'm finding that it's picking up more of the graphite if I go in the same directions as the lines that I've created compared to going opposite directions and all over. The kneaded eraser keeps that cool, that crisp, snowy feel as the pencil first put down, and it did take away little sections of the dark color. So let's try it out. Let's knead it around, find a somewhat white space, and we'll get it prepared. Instantly it's picking up the light graphite of the 3B pencil. And it's also blurring it in a little bit. Test out your 3 erasers with for sure the darkest and a little bit of the lighter B's. And if you want to test out the H's and other degrees of your numbers, you for sure can. Pause the video now, and then when you're ready to move on to our next activity, where we will be needing a piece of paper, about maybe a hand's length or so. The dimensions are 14 centimeters. So about there, 14 centimeters by 7 centimeters, or double the length as it is the width. Widths. And what we're going to be creating with the paper, I'm just using plain printer paper. You can use a softer paper, you can use a harder paper. Test it out with different degrees of paper, and we are going to be creating blending stumps. There's a variety of different sizes of blending stumps. These ones are bought from a store, and you're more than welcome to buy your own as well for future projects, or we can create some DIY blending stumps. And they do not have to be perfect to work. This one kind of thrown together. This one is very well done, I believe. And a few other little ones. That's what we're going to be creating with our paper. I'm just going to be using a basic printer paper. And move this out of the way just for a moment. As we create our DIY blending stumps, the dimensions do not have to be perfect, the cut of the paper does not have to be perfect, nothing has to be exact. The dimensions are roughly around 14 centimeters. This one is a little bit over, but it's not a big deal, by 7 centimeters. Oh, 6, that's okay. It will work. Let's roughly cut the line. Oh, look at that, I missed the line a little bit. That's all right. This one's going to be a smaller blending stump, approximately the same as the number 1 if you buy from the stores. And we can use 2 thumbs awkwardly like that. Or we can measure about 3 centimeters up by 6 centimeters across. Here is our nice long rectangle. We're going to take the right side, or if you are with your left hand, it really doesn't matter what corner we're taking off. We can cut off this one, or we can go over and cut off this one. Put that off to the side in the garbage and recycling bin. And a nice fun way to get our paper rolling is to take our pencil on one side of the paper and our finger and squish it against the pencil on the other side. And then what we're going to do is pull that paper. We're really trying to squish that finger against the pencil. And right on that pencil, squish it across all the way. Please be careful right here that you do not give yourself a paper cut, and you can always ask for parents or parental adult guidance. As many times as you want. Main thing we're looking for is that fold to help us over that roly-oly. Turn the whole body instead of turning the whole paper. So here's our corner right here. And let's try our best to fold our paper as close and as tight together as possible to create that spiral or stick. And I have found that squishing it together right at the edge helps quite a bit. Sometimes we go like this and push our fingers that way and pull our thumbs back. It will help with the roll. Both fingers at the same time. And once you get the roll going, either pause the video and see if I get it eventually, or you can keep on going. Pause the video once you've completed the first little step, getting that first starting roll to go, and then join me once I've got it. Or in reverse, if I get it before you, that's okay. Pause the video and come back when you're done. Started that little roll. One side of the paper is rolling a little bit better. Sometimes to put on the ground, the table, the page that you're working on, hard surface. But I have found it does work better for me to keep it up in the air, and having moist hands works as well. Lightly dipping those fingers and then brushing them off in water helps as well. Sweaty hands are perfect for this. There's nothing perfect about art. Sweaty hands, pretty close for this. On this side is being tricky, so I am going to focus on the most important side, trying to get it nice and tight and rolling, and then the other side can do its own thing for today. Trickiest part is getting it started. The rest is pretty straightforward. Just a little curve in there, but pretty much straight. There we go. Okay, we got it rolling. Now, our goal, I'll try my best to keep it the same way as before. Our goal is to follow this line with this part, but also slowly bringing it down. Little tiny spaces. It's going to be like a little roll around. Like those curved slides on the playground. Going around the middle. Either skip ahead to where I have it rolled and I'll show you what it looks like, or keep following along, trying your best. There we go. So I've kind of gotten a roll here. And then I can either keep rolling, or I can straighten it out a little bit. Main thing is we try our best to keep, well, this one has a big hole, try our best to have our hole as small and tight together as we can. That's where the scissors and the optional sandpaper come in a little bit later. It'll help us get that lovely fold, lovely edge of our blending stump, and then we'll be able to test it out. There we go, there's mine, nice and tight as possible, as tight as I can get it. This is what it's going to look like at this stage. And the end can be like this, or it can be a little bit more together. Then we're going to take some tape. You can use as many pieces as you would like. The main thing we're trying to do is leave some blending stump space right here. So I'm going to start by putting the tape a little bit lower, so I have some shaping I can do at the top. And I didn't quite get the corner as much as I would like it to, so I'm going to put 2 pieces of tape. And sometimes if you put the tape first like this, you can pull it, pull, and around to get it even tighter. And if you want to tape up the whole end, you for sure can. It does have a cool blending feel at the end, and the tape kind of has a cool thing going on too. If we use the tape as a little bit of a smudge in some of our artwork, you're more than welcome to try it out, but we're going to be focusing more on this part of the blending stump for these artistic drawing videos. Carefully, very carefully, cutting off the ends, trying to get a nice dome shape. And we're going to make a little bit of a mess. Vacuum cleaners and brooms and picking up with our fingers works great. I'm taking away that hole that was on the other side and creating a super tight stump. Clean up my workspace just a little bit. And the optional sandpaper. We can refine our dome a little bit more and get it a little bit fluffy for that cool effect of blending with the stump, which we will take a look at in this video, blending with our DIY stump. And I'd love it if you would test out your DIY stump as well. And if you decide to purchase some blending stumps, cool, test them out on your own time, or if you have them with you right now, or take a look at the video and we'll see the differences between the different sizes, the different softness of the blending stumps bought from stores. Refining my point a little bit more, getting a little bit softer. This is a completely optional step, and the softness or the grit of the sandpaper is optional to check out different grits as well, but I would suggest 100 or less for this specific activity and blending stump. So let's go back to our page. If you have some room on this page to check out the blending stumps, great. If you don't, that's all right. Flip over to your next page and find a little section, or a huge section, if you would like to try it out too. I'm going to put the blending stump we made just right here for now, and I'm going to label these 4 sections. In the blending stumps that I have with me here, I have a large, which is about a 0.8, a medium, or a small medium, which is about number 4, or number 8, number 4, and this one here, which is around number 1. I'm going to put about number 8, or large, and there are different sizes out there and different softness. This one's a soft large, or soft 0.8, number 8. This one is about a number 4, or I'm going to call it a medium. That's this one here. It's pretty soft too. And I'm going to put a number 1, small, it's a very fine tip. It has a lovely little wraparound slide there. And we have our number 1 DIY, which is this one. With any pencil you would like. I like using my blackest and softest of my graphite pencils for examples. And you can do half dark, half lighter, which is what I'm going to do for this exercise. Change it a little bit. And keeping it consistent as over here, I'm going to be using my 3B. Try and keep the same amount of pressure and same distance between your lines. Try and keep your lines nice and close together for blending stumps. If they're further apart, that's all right. This is all about learning and exploring the differences between our artistic tools. And if you have room somewhere, I ran out of room for mine, to check out, let's see if I can squeeze it in here, the difference between lines that are close together and lines that are far apart. Let's check out the large, the number 8-ish blending stump. Line all the way here. Check out different pressures as well. I'm pushing quite hard. Together, and there it is. Taking away some of that black helps as well to see the differences of this nice sandpaper can help with. Taking away some of that graphite from the blending stump so I can use a fresh blending stump section again. And scissors work just as well. Snip off that graphite. And moving along to the medium one that I have, which is about a 4, number 4. Oh, the other side's pretty clean. Let's try it out. Let's see the differences, how it feels. What's happening when you push down? Can you still see your lines? Are they clearer over here? Are they more faded, more disappearing? Down to the smallest one. Careful, this one is quite tiny. Sometimes when we push together, or depending on how you hold your pencils, pushing here may snap the blending stump. Be careful about that. Let's check out what it does. And do we think the smaller tip is better for large backgrounds? Is it good for tiny details? Same thing with our larger blending stumps. Do we think these ones are going to be better for details? Are they going to be better for large sections? can always come back to this page to check out which blending stump we may want for different parts of our creations. And we can always use more than one tool, artistic tool, per drawing. You can use everything in one drawing. You can use only one thing in one drawing. It's up to your artistic preference. Let's check out our DIY. This one should be about the same. This one is a little bit of a finer tip than what I created, but they should be about the same of what we see. And to know if your blending stump is working really great is, can it draw its own thing? So I might need a little bit more graphite on it. Pushing down, picking up on that graphite, blending it together, and we can draw. This one, shaky, shaky. If we have a well-working blending stump, it'll blend nicely for us and also create some sketches on the side so we can blend in some shadows without even using that graphite pencil in that specific spot. So we'll take away those lines by using only the blending stump. Now that we've tested out all of our graphite pencils, our erasers, and our blending stumps, and you can create as many of those blending stumps, different sizes, different types of papers to check out for our next video, creating some blurry leaves. Thank you for joining me and happy artistic learning. And we'll be needing an eraser. Again. Here's the eraser in future videos.